Hey Bookworms, welcome back to my channel and to another Victorian horror video. This is my project for this year. For October, I will be reviewing every week, once a week, a Victorian horror novel, obviously. So stay tuned, subscribe, click the little notification bell so you won't miss any other video. And while you're here, also click the link in the description box where you can find other reviews I already did on the subject. After finishing this video, of course. Today I will continue with another famous monster, or maybe half a monster, because in this video I will talk about The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde by Robert Louis Stevenson. Now, I already read this book many years ago, but I managed to forget pretty much everything about it, except this one thing that everyone remembers about this book. So imagine my surprise when I started reading it again and realized I was reading a mystery novel. This short novella follows a lawyer called Mr. Utterson who is concerned about his friend Dr. Henry Jekyll. Jekyll recently changed his will to completely benefit a man called Edward Hyde in the case of Dr. Jekyll's death or mysterious disappearance. After hearing from a friend that this Mr. Hyde is pretty much a huge evil bastard, Utterson fears that Hyde has a certain hold on Dr. Jekyll and is blackmailing him. Worried about his friend, Utterson starts sniffing around to find out what's going on and slowly realizes that indeed something fishy is going on as Dr. Jekyll goes from a vibrant social man to an empty shell who refuses to see anybody. And to make things worse, it seems that Mr. Hyde is indeed a hideous villain with very nefarious intentions. So as you can probably see, I refrain from talking about the solution to the mystery and the actual connection or relationship between Jekyll and Hyde. Yes, I know that you know what it is. I think it is probably the only thing that people actually remember from the story. But just imagine that jaw-dropping moment in the 19th century where people just discovered it. What a shocking plot twist! So just in case someone who is watching this video doesn't know it, I decided not to spoil it, and all I have to say is enjoy. Because this book is really enjoyable. If you want to read classic horrors or classic literature and isn't sure about it, this is a good one to start with. Not only it's very short, it's also surprisingly to the point. As you will see from the series, or if you have any experience with 19th century novels, they tend to be rather chatty. Victorian literature is rarely just actions. It has a lot of thought, which is a positive thing. Look, last week I reviewed Frankenstein, which is less about a monstrous creature and more an allegory about the nature of man, good and evil, and even bad parenting. And next week I will discuss a book which is about, 80% chatter and 20% plot. But Jekyll and Hyde manages to have meaning and thought as well as being short and to the point. Similar to Frankenstein, it's about human nature and what makes us good or bad, though the direction that Stevenson takes it is rather different to Shelley. It's less about the question of, is a person born bad or made bad by society, and more about how we're all both good and bad and the inherent hypocrisy of it. Which is a point that I personally disagree on with Dr. Jekyll. I honestly don't think it's hypocritical to try to be a decent human being and still have a bad side that gets jealous or angry sometimes. It's okay, we're all people. But I guess today it's different because in recent years we luckily talk more publicly about how it's okay to be human and have negative feelings sometimes. I think therefore that this novella was a little critical on contemporary society where you had to show your best squeaky clean side in public, where in private be a hideous creature who is a slave to their darkest desires. Stay tuned for next week because the next book will also touch this subject. With all that being said, I really don't have any negatives to mention. There are some unanswered questions, but nothing to keep you up at night. The ending is also rather abrupt, but I think that was the point. You get what you get, and that's the author's intentions. You can continue to talk about it and analyze it, but the information that is physically in the book is all you need. So to conclude, this was a really fun, cool book, and due to its short length, a great introduction to the genre. If, for example, Frankenstein was too heavy for you, or you want to read a classic without spending too much time on it, I really recommend this one. I actually read it for the first time at school as I was studying English as a second language, so it's even great for non-native speakers. A bit off topic, but the same goes to another famous novel by the same author, Treasure Island. It was short, fun, and I also read it as I was learning English. So guys, that was my review on The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. The similarities and differences between this one and Frankenstein were definitely interesting. Anyway, thank you for watching this video, and if you enjoyed it, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and write down in the comment section what is your favorite horror novel with a psychological or philosophical question in its base. Guys, thanks again for watching, and I will see you next time, where I will talk about what happens when you manage to get away with evil deeds while someone or something else bears their consequences. Until next time, goodbye.